7:14. Doc Osgood here today.
Hey, it's always
Howdy,
great
howdy.
to be here. And the weather is just going to warm up this week, I think.
Hallelujah.
That'd be awesome.
I'm ready.
I am too. I got spring fever. I think everybody does. Everybody I talk to comes in the office is ready for spring to happen. So, hey, and it's the first day of early voting.
Yes, it is.
So
I
get
want
out
to
there
point
and
out
vote.
I've got the Family Council Arkansas Voters Guides.
There you go.
And what this does, it starts off with the federal. We got the federal races. And I'm not going to say all the way down to the unimportant because everything on here is important.
Yeah, right. And so that but just outlines who's on the vote this time then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's got your Supreme Court Chief Justice, Position 1, Supreme Court Position 5, which is Clark Mason and Sean Womack.
Yeah.
Of course, I have endorsed Sean Womack on that. I've known Judge Womack for many, many years. On the Supreme Court Position 1, I've endorsed Dan Kemp. And anyway, if you need a voter's guide, I've got them on the front desk here at the lobby.
There you go.
I don't have a lot. First come, first serve. So come down and pick up a voter's guide.
Check out who you
And of
want
course,
to
Family
vote for.
Council by Jerry Cox is our conservative lobby group for family values.
All right.
They're pro-life, pro-family,
And
man and woman.
they put that out then.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Brought to you by Family Council right there. You can also go online, familycouncil.org. Anyway, Doc Osgood's there.
Yeah, we you know how I like to talk politics anyway. I'm always
Fun.
always fun. But we talk a little chiropractic too, and so we want to let people know just the kinds of things that chiropractic care can do for folks, things that most folks don't really readily recognize that we can fix. And a lot of those are the other joints of the body besides the back. Like we've talked before about the jaw being a problem for people, and that we can work on people's jaws and get them to function better and get them to move better.
Yeah, we talked last time about jaw pop.
Right.
And I suffered
popping, and a painful jaw when you're chewing and it's just painful. And all of that can be realigned and we can adjust the jaw. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, the people that are always sitting at a desk and using their hand for the mouse, using their hands for typing, can actually get misdiagnosed a lot of times with what doctors call carpal tunnel. And carpal tunnel is a certain problem that is a really bad problem with the hands, but a lot of times if it's from typing and using the mouse, it's just overuse. And what tends to happen is you misalign the bones of the wrist, the bones of the elbow, and overworking the muscles of the forearm. If you go across the top, if you lay your arm on the table, you go across the top of your forearm, and you've got sore muscles across the top there, that simply means that you've overused those muscles too much, and you've created scar tissue in those areas that can be broken up. And so we use certain techniques like ultrasound therapy and trigger point therapy to work the knots out of those muscles. And doing that a few times will straighten out elbow pain. If you've been suffering with pain in the elbows from typing all the time, using the mouse, or doing repetitive work, like there's some jobs that you in certain factories where you pick up little parts out of a container and put them in a little container. If you're doing that over and over and over again, then you are suffering, most likely, instead of carpal tunnel, you're suffering from repetitive stress.
That even affects the neck
injury.
and upper back, too.
All of that. So that's why when you come in, we'll take x-rays of the neck and upper back for any elbow, shoulder, wrists, any of those problems. We'll usually take x-rays of the neck and upper back because it can always be tied typically to that. And if we can correct problems that originate there, then it will affect down the line. It will affect the elbows, wrists, shoulders, all those areas. So we try to take a global approach to when you're having pain in the wrist or in the elbow. We try to find, okay, where is that coming from? The nerve that supplies it comes from up there in the upper back and neck. So let's make sure that that's fixed and functioning properly. And then we also will attack where the bone and the joint structure itself is. And in the elbow itself, we make sure that we adjust that area too. And then, like I say, work on those knotted up muscles in the elbow so that we can kind of work the kinks out of everything.
When it comes down to the carpal tunnel,
Yeah.
you know, what's the success rate on avoiding surgery?
You know, like I said, a lot of times carpal tunnel is misdiagnosed. And it's, you know,
Let's explain what it is. What exactly?
Typically, when you have carpal tunnel problems, you're going to have, it stems from a little spot in the hand itself. You know, it's from the wrist
Okay.
down. If you look at your hand
Okay.
and you look at where the palm begins, it's right in that area, right in the middle of the hand. So there's a little tunnel that some nerve bundles go through, and it's covered with a sheath of tendons. And so when you have carpal tunnel problems, there's a swelling in that area. And typically what it'll do is it'll make the whole hand numb and tingly.
Yeah.
Typically not just a couple of fingers. Most of the time you'll have the whole hand feel like you have a glove on, like everything's just numb, and it's just,
Really?
you know, it's achy and numb. And so when we work with the wrist and with the elbows, we can also help the carpal tunnel area as well. If it is truly carpal tunnel, we can do ultrasound on that area, which will help to loosen up the tendons in that area and get the pressure a little bit relieved from that area as well. So that can be helped. If it is truly carpal tunnel, it can be helped chiropractically as well. And, you know, the surgery for carpal tunnel is fairly simple surgery. They cut that area, they just cut the sheath in that area and allow it to breathe, basically. But it
is invasive.
Yeah, if you can avoid surgery at all, that's the best thing to do. And so it is something that we work with at the office, and that we have I would say 80 to 90% success rate with relieving the symptoms enough that you don't have to go and have surgery. So
Boy, that's a big help.
yeah. You know, not everything is 100%, obviously. There are some people that, hey, we can help only so much. If their damage has gone so far, then you can't, you can't bring it back. But I would say, for the most part, elbows, shoulders, wrists, 80 to 90% of folks will achieve some level of pain relief and will be able to function a whole lot better when it comes to what we do. And we're doing it without drugs and without surgery. We're trying to improve the function of all of those joints that aren't functioning right.
And it hits home what you're talking about, because, we're doing production in production room, something like that. We're constantly on the computer. We've got the mouse going. We got the keyboard going.
Yeah.
And, of course, looking at the monitor, you look down, look up, and all this stuff, and you can get this pain in the neck,
neck and shoulders,
and then I know exactly what you're talking about.
And that's one thing to know, whether it's carpal tunnel or whether it's just overuse injury, and that is if you've got soreness in the muscles of that forearm. If you go across that forearm where that meets the elbow at the very top there, and you can press down. If you can press down and there are some real hot spots in there, typically that is a sign that you've got overuse injury more than something like carpal tunnel. So if it's overuse injury, it's a little bit easier to fix, because it doesn't take as long to work those knots out of the muscles and the scar tissue that has built up over the few years that you've been, doing all that typing and mouse using. So
they're done that. It helps.
And don't just put up with it. Don't just say, I'm going to take a few pills and try to.
We hear on the TV, you put up with that nagging backache, or
right.
Here's how it can stop.
Yeah,
here's how we can stop.
We can put an end. We can put an end to it, and then we can get it healthy enough that it's maintainable at that point, where you come in periodically just to keep a good maintenance adjustment on it, and then you can keep it in shape long term. Especially if that's your job and you're using those parts, your hands all the time like that, then it's something that we can keep maintained. So don't just live with it. Don't just put up with it. $37. We take x-rays. We do a nerve scan. And that gives you all of the information that we need to be able to diagnose, hey, here's what's going on. I'll sit you down. I'll show you your films, I'll tell you what we see, and then I'll give you a complete explanation of everything that I see that's going on and what I think it's going to take to fix and how long I think it's going to take. So we'll give you a complete going over that way.
And even, you get into the shoulder blade area, you sit back and just kind of stretch,
Yeah.
It's just the whole process of chiropractic care is so relieving.
Yeah, because most people, when you get adjusted, you stand up and I can stand up straight again. I can move my neck. I can, a lot of folks that haven't been adjusted in years, they'll come in and their neck gets adjusted a few times, and they'll say, I can turn my neck now and look over my shoulder to see if cars are coming. So actually, we're improving the safety of your driving because, you can actually see where you're going as far as that goes.
Well, in reference, we were talking about elbows and wrist, using the mouse, and of course it's going to affect my wrist and my elbow and the shoulder blade area, but just sitting in general, and oh my goodness, I sat too long, I'm stiff.
Yeah, when you're sitting over a desk and you're bending over and you've got that rounded upper back because that's all you do is sit at a desk. Mm-hmm. It can start to get stuck that way, and we relieve that.
We get in the routine. Okay, so I go home, I have supper, might fiddle around with some things, but let's say I sit down and watch the news, say at 10 o'clock, maybe the Tonight Show, and about 11:10 or so. Oh, get up! How you get up off the couch and you kind of or out of the recliner,
stuck. Yeah,
kind of stuck. Then you lay down.
Right.
Well, you keep that same routine going, and I'm not saying it's. What I'm trying to say is, you can help alleviate any stiffness, even if you don't have the pain.
Right. Now, exercise is completely important.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
not to discount that at all. But I have folks who exercise regularly, in fact, who are bodybuilders, weightlifters, who get adjusted regularly because it actually helps their performance.
Oh, I can see that, yeah.
And when they can make sure that there is no interference to the nerve supply, they're going to have a lot better performance. And I have a lot of athletes who come in simply because of that. They want to stay in line, they want to stay adjusted so that their performance is improved.
Football season's over. What about football players right now before winter, spring, and summer workouts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good time to make sure if you're working, especially over the winter time, you're working the muscles. Make sure that all those hits that you took didn't put something out of alignment, and we can realign everything. Make sure it's working properly, so that you can, when you are doing your workouts, you can do them properly. So,
I got a tickle going on here.
I understand that.
What about swimmers? Athletic swimmers.
Yeah, any athletic. Anything that you're doing athletically can only be enhanced chiropractically, because you think about what chiropractic care does is we improve nerve function. If we're improving nerve function, we're going to improve muscle function, and we're going to enhance any ability that you have simply by making sure there's no nerve interference anywhere. So
the bottom line, if you work in the office, your wrist, your elbow, shoulder, neck is bothering you, stiff, may not have a lot of pain, but stiffness, see Doc Osgood.
Yeah.
Lower back, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Legs and knees, folks.
Like any joint in the body, like we've been talking about, it can all be improved upon by chiropractic adjusting and the therapies that we use there in the office.
Real quick, we're down to a minute before we go news break. Your location, phone number, and how people can even talk to you by email.
Yeah. Go to the website, mountainhomechiro.com, and there's a link to just send me an email if you have a question. If you go to the website, and there's all kinds of information there, but if you don't find an answer to your question, send me an email. I get those all the time. I love it. So do that. Mountainhome Family Chiropractic is right across the street from Liberty. Is it Liberty Bank? No, it's not Liberty Bank. It hasn't been Liberty Bank
Centennial.
for a long time. Centennial, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it's across from Affordable Insurance and Centennial Bank.
Just right down the street?
Right down the street.
If your truck wasn't so big.
Yeah, I know, you can see it.
I can see it from...
But just down the street.
You got to see Doc's truck here. I mean, it's this monster truck out here.
It's 425-4424 is the phone number. So give us a call. There's a lot we can do. Don't just, try to live with the pain and put up with it.
You feed that thing Priuses?
Yeah, actually, we could probably run over a few of those. I would actually like that. It would be fun.
Let me tell you what, Doc Osgood has helped me many times. I guarantee he can help you. Give him a call today, 425-4424. The address is 640 Highway 62 East. Time for the news. We'll be right back.